I think probably when you get done with the construction and it's the day it opens, I would say probably only 30% of the businesses that started out on Main Street when all this started will still be here. After 4 years of the transit, they found that 50% of the businesses on Main Street either went out of business altogether or outsiders came in and bought up property waiting for future development.
The NFTA's light rail rapid transit project is now a reality. But the years of construction have taken a toll on those businesses, stretching in nearly 6.5 miles from the University of Buffalo South Campus, Memorial Auditorium at the foot of Main Street. Many didn't survive, and some who did wonder if the venture was worthwhile. For that reason, Maria Castillo-Kesper of the New York Department of State meets with merchants and neighborhood groups in hopes of bringing Main Street back to life.
The principle of the Main Street Conference was one, essentially, to educate and make available to you as merchants those resources and that information that you needed to bring your Main Streets back to life.
We find business has been viable there in the past, and we hope that it will come back. We see it coming back, but we want more improvements made in the area so that more traffic, more people can have access to the community.
Your first step is to find out how many of you are there, how many of you have really been willing to hang in there and survive.
There are still many storefronts that need enhancement so that we can rid ourselves of the ghetto appearance that we are running right there now.
What we want to do is to work with the merchant and have the merchant relook at their community and say, all right, these are the good things. These are the things that other people think are bad, but in fact they're not. We're suffering from an image problem. This is what we can do to improve it. Have the merchants essentially elicit that, have them tell us what's good. And having had them tell us that, for us to work with them on an incremental plan for the revitalization of their Main Street to help them attract investors.
What programs are available?
We at the Department of State are the lead agency in the New York State Main Street program, but we've got other partners. We've got the Urban Development Corporation, and under their agency there are facade programs, there are loan leaseback programs, low-interest subsidies that make loans available to merchants. Under the State of New York Mortgage Agency, which is another one of our partners, there's a program that in essence almost provides commercial refinancing through its mortgage insurance program. The state monies can be used as a foundation, an incentive to attract that investment. It's not the solution, it's not what's going to take care of all the ills, and heaven knows the state cannot assume all of the cutbacks that there have been at the federal level and the ones that are still to come.
There's some federal funds that the county receives, but they said they could not legally create loan funds for them. What they could do, there were specific things they could do. For instance, they could give money to a not-for-profit organization.
What we need to do is to renovate, get some facade monies down here for business people and try to renovate some of the empty buildings that are here as well as the ones where there are still successful businesses and make it more attractive for people to come down here. When they take the subway, if it's going to be unattractive and in deplorable condition, if your camera sweeps around here and picks this up, nobody's going to want to get off the subway here or at Main and Amherst or in University Heights. We all need some renovation and facade monies to try to make the area more attractive for business overall.
What is needed here is an organization. In essence, that one cry out in the wilderness does not get heard. It needs to be a coalition of people. You need to get all the merchants together. And even though each district, each section of 3 or 4 blocks of that Main Street may have different interests, their ultimate goal is the same, and that is to attract investment, to bring consumers, and to generate more income for themselves.
Really, to my knowledge, these areas like around the subway stations and along the Main Street corridor are not getting help outside of the theater district. We're hoping that politicians will see the need to make these areas more attractive in order to make them more successful and to make the subway successful.
The most important thing that has to be done is to revitalize this organization that includes all the businessmen along this corridor. We're not talking about the theater district and the pedestrian mall and down that area. We're talking about roughly from North Street up to Bailey, where very few dollars have been spent in terms of assisting businessmen.
Once they have that one voice and they form a formal organization, they'll be able to make use of the resources that exist.
In other words, they should start helping themselves.
That's what it's all about, isn't it?
If there's a possibility that this group can be revitalized and the businessmen can see some of the new programs that are available from the state, and that there are so many people willing to help, then maybe there is a chance that together they can try to take control of their destiny.